The Foreign Ministry and the SAR government condemned the latest round of U.S. sanctions on its officials and defend the use of the national security legislation. The People's Liberation Army conducts military exercises around Taiwan in response to the growing anti-China rhetoric on the island and a warning to separatist forces. And Myanmar continues to mourn its dead as the death toll from last week's 7.7 magnitude earthquake rises to more than 2,700. Good evening. You are watching Cable News. I'm Evelyn Bai. Beijing has vowed to retaliate after the United States imposed fresh sanctions on mainland and Hong Kong officials, including Justice Secretary Paul Lam and outgoing Police Chief Raymond Siu. The SAR government has condemned Washington's actions, and the Foreign Ministry's office in Hong Kong has accused the U.S. of smearing the one country, two systems principle. Quentin Yang reports.
Sanctioning Justice Secretary Paul Lam and outgoing Police Commissioner Raymond Siu for transnational repression of opposition activists. The director of the Beijing's National Security Office in Hong Kong, Dong Jingwei, was also targeted by Washington. Others who face sanctions include Sunny Au, Secretary General of the Committee for Safeguarding National Security, along with Dick Wan and Margaret Chiu, both of whom are Assistant Commissioners for the National Security Police. The U.S. claims these officials coordinated cross-border intimidation against 19 opposition figures, including American citizens. Beijing's Foreign Affairs Office in the city condemned the sanctions as a U.S. attempt to undermine the city's stability and curb China's development, pledging to take forceful countermeasures. Hong Kong government echoed the sentiment, denouncing the sanctions as barbaric acts of hegemony aimed at intimidating officials safeguarding national security. A government spokesperson rejected the allegations, asserting that judicial and police actions adhere strictly to international law. They accused the U.S. of shooting fugitives and distorting public perception, stressing that sanctions would not deter efforts to safeguard national security. Lam said the sanctions had no impact on his work or life, vowing to continue upholding national security more unitedly and resolutely. Meanwhile, members of the pro-establishment DAB party staged a protest outside the U.S. consulate in Central, urging the American politicians to stop defaming China and Hong Kong. The Chinese embassy in the U.S. also said that the sanctions were a serious violation of the international law and the basic norms governing foreign relations. Quentin Yang, Cable News.
The People's Liberation Army's Eastern Theater Command launched joint exercises of its Army, Navy, Air and Rocket forces around Taiwan today. The drills are a stern warning to the separatist forces on the island and to safeguard national unity. Anna Chen reports.
The drills were launched without any warning early this morning and focused on three major capabilities of the PLA. Namely joint operation, precision strike on key targets, and seizure of control. Aircraft formations in coordination with long-range rocket launching systems, air interception, and assault on maritime targets, including a complete blockade of the island, was simulated. The drills come within days of U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth wrapping up his first official visit to the Philippines and Japan.
3、2、1，点火！
No name was assigned for the current drill, which is happening after a rise in anti-China rhetoric by William Lai, whom Beijing has called a parasite. In a strong show of force, the aircraft carrier Shandong led a strike group in the Taiwan Strait. The Chinese Coast Guard was also involved, conducting law enforcement patrols close to Taiwan's main island. Taipei condemned the drills as reckless, irresponsible, and totally unacceptable, adding that no live fire was detected. Anna Chen, Cable News.
Chief Executive Zhang Li said a sustainable water supply from the Dongjiang River has been a contributing factor in Hong Kong's economic prosperity and development.
Last year, we set up a digital water office to drive the digitalization of our water supply services. The office promotes the use of smart devices, digital twin technology, and artificial intelligence to gradually gain full automation of operations in our waterworks installations. Innovation in infrastructure development will power our water-secure future. Our goal is to establish Hong Kong as an international infrastructure center that serves our city and China, our country.
Speaking at the International Water Pioneers Summit at the Hong Kong Palace Museum this morning, Li highlighted a remarkable increase in water supply capacity, which surged 12-fold from 68.2 million to 820 million cubic meters, thanks to the expansion of the Dongjiang-Shenzhen water supply scheme. Almost 70 to 80% of the SAR's water supply comes from the Dongjiang River. The summit welcomed nearly 400 high-profile professionals and senior government officials from around the world to discuss water issues. The death toll from a massive earthquake in Myanmar has risen to 2,700. Over 4,500 people are injured and hundreds are still missing. Sirens blared around Myanmar's biggest city, Yangon, as people began to observe a moment of silence at midday today, the same time when the earthquake struck last Friday. The Southeast Asian country has declared a week of national mourning, as search and rescue operations continue for a fifth straight day. In the capital Naypyidaw, a 63-year-old woman was rescued from the rubble of a building today after being trapped for 91 hours, but hope is fading for finding more survivors. In the quake-stricken city of Mandalay, the search and rescue team from Hong Kong was operating with their mainland counterparts, using drones, displacement sensors, and blasting techniques. The SAR team arrived at Mandalay yesterday and carried out inspections and searched different damaged sites. Back locally, the housing society started accepting applications for the sale of subsidized flats located in Fanling and Kwun Tong today. Additional quotas are set aside for families with elderly members or newborns. Kun Ting-yang has more details.
Located in northern Fanling's Jockey Club Road and Kwun Tong's Anderson Road, the developments are slated for completion by September 2027, delivering 1,604 1- to 3-bedroom units. The price ranges from $2.3 million to $6.3 million, 30% below market value. 40% of the units will be allocated to families with members aged 60 and above, or with children under 3 years, including expecting mothers at 16 weeks and more. Mirroring the Housing Authority's home ownership scheme, individuals with a monthly income cap of $30,000 for singles and $60,000 for families can apply. Applications will be accepted online, by post, or in person until April 14th with a $290 fee. Dozens of applicants queued at the Housing Society's office today, with many expressing cautious optimism. A parent applying for her 23-year-old son said, subsidized housing is his best chance to build a family, but noted the price is still higher than before. The projects align with the authority's 5-year plan to deliver 18,000 subsidized homes, including 4 developments in the urban area. Kun Ting-yang, Cable News.
The written exams for the Diploma of Secondary Education, or DSE, commenced today, as over 4,000 students appeared for the Visual Arts test. Chairman of the Hong Kong Examinations and Assessment Authority, Paul Lam, said they will closely monitor the core subject exams, which begin tomorrow, to ensure that all examinations run smoothly. Xiaorin reports.
Many candidates made their way to the test venues as early as 7:30 a.m. to take their first DSE exam of the year, which was scheduled to begin at 8:30. At a secondary school in Kwun Tong, students lugging around their art supplies were a bit worried about using the Check-in Smart app due to glitches reported last year. Despite these concerns, this student felt confident that everything would go well, having practiced using the app beforehand, adding that schools would provide support in case of any technical issues. Center supervisors said today's test went ahead smoothly and no issues were reported. Earlier, the Hong Kong Examinations and Assessment Authority had simulated a traffic test by asking all candidates appearing for the exams this year to log into the app at the same time. Over 55,000 students are expected to sit the DSE exams this year. The core subjects will begin tomorrow, with Chinese language paper 1 and 2 being the first on the schedule. Cheryl Yun, Cable News.
A male student at the City University of Hong Kong was arrested for wounding people and assaulting police officers. Online footage showed that 2 officers were trying to restrain the suspect, who reacted with aggression and even punched 1 officer. A scuffle broke out in the university's cafeteria yesterday when a 23-year-old man, reportedly speaking Mandarin, was watching videos on his phone with the volume turned on. A female student, who asked for the sound to be turned down, was assaulted and had her wallet snatched. A canteen staff was also injured when he tried to intervene. The suspect then fled to the library, where the police responded at around 10:30 a.m. and restrained him using pepper spray. 1 officer's body camera was ripped off. The man is being held in custody on suspicion of wounding, common assault, theft, obstructing and assaulting a police officer, and resisting arrest. Markets around the world are bracing for turmoil as U.S. President Donald Trump is set to unveil reciprocal tariffs on many countries tomorrow. Calling his action Liberation Day, Trump's decisions could have widespread economic consequences affecting billions of people worldwide.
I call it a lot of different names, but it's really, in a sense, it's a rebirth of a country, because how we could have afforded to do what we did, we help everybody, and they don't help us. The term I like best probably is the liberation of America. It's a liberation of this country, because it's incredible. Look, we have 36
Trump added that he would be very kind and very nice to trading partners, but refused to reveal more details. The White House said the announcement would feature country-based tariffs that would roll back the unfair trade practices that have been ripping off the United States for decades, with no exemptions expected. Trump's tariffs are likely to create chaos for global businesses and conflict with America's allies and adversaries alike. The angst has also fueled a weeks-long sell-off on Wall Street that extended into Monday. France's far-right leader Marine Le Pen has been banned running for public office after a court in Paris convicted the 56-year-old for embezzlement. Speaking to a French TV channel in her first reaction to the verdict, Le Pen, leader of the far-right National Rally, said that millions of French citizens were outraged and silenced, adding that the ruling was a violation of the rule of law. Le Pen said she was innocent and will appeal as soon as possible. Apart from the ban, Le Pen also received a 4-year prison sentence and a fine of $108,000. But the fine and the sentence, of which 2 years are suspended and the other 2 to be served under home detention, will not apply until the verdict is given on her appeals. Le Pen was considered a top contender for the 2027 presidential elections to eventually succeed current leader Emmanuel Macron. Macau's gaming sector showed modest resilience in March, with gross casino revenue rising 0.8% year-on-year to 19.66 billion pesos, narrowly surpassing market expectations of flat growth. The results, released today by the Gaming Inspection and Coordination Bureau, marked the second highest monthly revenue this year, but reflected a slight 0.4% decline from February's 19.74 billion pesos. For the first quarter of 2025, the world's largest gambling hub recorded total revenue of 57.66 billion pesos, a 0.6% increase compared to the same period last year. While the figures signal a stabilizing recovery, they remain 24% below pre-pandemic levels seen in 2019, underscoring lingering challenges in revitalizing tourism and high-stakes play. Now, let's take a look at the stock market. The Hang Seng Index ended the day up 87 points. Top ADIC stocks of the day. Checker Fund was up 4 cents. Tencent was up $7. BYD was down $6.60. XPeng was up $4.40. Onto the weather now. Overcast with sunny intervals tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 16 and 22 degrees. Warm and dry in the next couple of days. That's our news tonight. I'm Evelyn Bai. Thanks for watching and good night.